Oh, goodness me. I love it. Oh,
Still we are again on that little town street.
are her lyrics not just fabulous? Oh my goodness me. You just know, you know that she knows when obviously she knows when she's changing the song. Kia ora and welcome. My name's Zoe Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today because we are going to be taking a look at Taylor Swift and what she's up to with her vocal technique in her iconic sessions at the Grammy Museum. Taylor is an incredible singer, and I love the way that she is able to make her voice sound so different in all of the music that she produces. But you still hear it and you go, that's Taylor Swift. And that's honestly what I want for every single one of my singing students. So we're going to be looking at what is she up to with that vocal technique? How is she creating these sounds, and how on earth can you create them in your own unique voice? So if you want to find out how to improve your vocal technique through the eyes, like we're learning through these amazing professional performers, hit that subscribe button so that you can continue learning. Let's just get straight to Taylor.
So this is the piano that I brought with me all around the world on the Eras tour. And one of my favorite things that I would do on the Eras tour, and something that really became something the fans paid a lot of attention to and would kind of like make a lot of guesses about every night, was I had this section called the acoustic section. I would do different songs every night, one on guitar and one on piano, and I started to really have a blast with creating medleys towards the middle end part of the tour, and I'd really just think about different songs I could mash up with other songs that would be surprising and kind of a surprise and delight moment for fans, and a way that I would kind of pick the songs is I'd find some sort of through line, whether that was like, you know, rhythmically, or these are all about a similar emotion. And I prepared one for you today that if I was still on the Eras tour, I would do this one. And it's songs that are connected to each other by the common theme of being about memory and reliving certain detailed memories of your life and the significance of those memories.
Just before she gets onto her singing, I got to see Taylor Swift live when she came to Munich. And I have to say, it was such an incredible performance, but also not only just was it incredible from the show and from the dancing and all that sort of stuff, but like her ability to sustain that level of performance energy and that level of vocal like energy throughout the entire, like nearly, I think it was like 3 hours, the show. It was absolutely incredible. And that can only be done by having exceptional vocal technique. So let's take a look at what she's going to do with this medley. I'm excited. I feel like I'm like right back there.
I knew you through the days of the blades of the grass in summer. Parachutes for the free fall of being younger. I memorize the sound of your bare footsteps. Running a while, it's been a long time. Life has ways of leaving those days behind.
Oh my goodness me, isn't this just so beautiful? I am a big fan of a stripped down performance. You know that about me. I love an acoustic performance. So we heard Taylor speak at the beginning. Now she's got a thick vocal fold closure. There's no breath coming through her spoken voice. And then when she goes to sing, what's going on there is she's just allowing the vocal folds to open slightly, but constricting the area above the vocal folds to kind of create that sense of, well, firstly, it's helping us with a bit of back pressure to help create more tone on a breathy vocal fold. But also it's giving that sense of like, I'm having a bit of, it's struggle for me at the beginning of the song.
Through the days of the blades of the grass in summer, parachutes for the free fall of being younger. I memorize the sound of your barefoot steps, running a while. It's been a long time. Life has ways of leaving those days behind. Seeing you tonight.
I'm just struggling to get used to these new inner ears that I've got, and I don't know if you notice they're very, very sparkly. Can't really see them and things. And so it's a lot going on in my ears at the moment, so I'm trying to figure it all out. When we've got this, it's almost, I always get this sort of like, leave me beneath the milky twilight. I got like a Sixpence None the Richer kind of vibe from this sound. And that's often created by just creating a little bit of tension in the tongue root. So we're creating that little bit of tension in the tongue root. And what that does is creates a bit more disturbance for the breath. Okay, so when we've got the disturbance for the breath, then that actually makes more tone from a breathy sound. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well, I'm sure. But essentially we need more tension in the vocal tract, like in this whole apparatus, in order to create a breathy, like to make a breathy sound more like singing.
Memorize the sound of your barefoot steps, running a while. It's been a long time. Life has ways of leaving those days behind. Seeing you tonight. I loved you, came back when I met it, I saw you, standing there in the light of the window, wearing that same smile, but it's been a while, but I knew it, I know you.
Okay, I'm not actually like that knowledgeable about where the songs start and finish, unless they're the ones that I really know of Taylor's, so I'm not going to comment on like where she's moving into the new songs, but do you notice the way you can hear her breathing in? Now, that's again another indicator for me. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's an indicator to me that there is tension within that vocal tract, because we only hear the in-breath when there is tension there. We can breathe in silently when we relax all the muscles inside the neck. But sometimes when we're singing, and she's, this is sort of one phrase after the other, the breaths need to be very, very short. So what often happens is we keep the tension the same in the in-breath and on the out-breath, which is when we're singing. And that's why we're hearing it.
All of being younger, I memorize the sound of your barefoot steps, running a while. It's been a long time. Life has ways of leaving those days behind. Seeing you tonight, I remembered I loved you, came back when I met it, I saw you, standing there in the light of the window, wearing that same smile, but it's been a while, but I knew it, I know you. I knew it, I knew you.
So in general, this is quite, I'm not going to say it's quite a breathy tone, but we can hear audible breath. I knew that I knew you. So she's gone down there and kept the same amount of breath coming through the vocal folds. I knew that I knew you. Rather than going, I knew that I knew you, which is sometimes what would happen. I get a lot of singers coming to the studio and saying like, oh, when I go low, I lose a lot of the power. So if you're trying to get louder as you're going lower, or you're trying to bring power in, I say power because power is essentially volume in this case. When we're trying to bring in more volume, we need to allow the vocal folds to close. I knew that I knew you, rather than keeping them open. I knew that I knew you. Okay, and you can hear the tonal difference there. One of them has a lot more resonance. So I'm going louder and bring the vocal folds together. It has a lot more resonance in the sound, which equals volume. One of them has less resonance because there's less vocal fold closure. There's less to vibrate, and therefore we have less overtones. The sound sounds quieter.
I knew it, I knew you.
August left.
Oh, I don't know that's a change there. So did you notice she brought her chin forward in the ba-da-da? That's a really clear sign that we've got the tension going on at the back of the tongue. The chin's kind of trying to release that tension going on. Tension is not a bad thing, people. Tension is not the end of the world when it comes to singing. What we're looking for is the correct placement of the tension. Where are we trying to have that tension? When we're low down here in the chest, that tension is not really going to be disrupting the sound. But if I'm trying to get louder, can you hear that it's sort of like almost become like quite tense? Obviously, I didn't write the song, right? So when we practiced it for that matter, right? That's the whole point of practice. So it's really about tension placed in the right place, in the right position for the song and for the pitch and for the part of the song that you're singing in. So let's not just like blanketly go like tension. What the fuck is going on with these inner ears? Like this is a very new thing to me. This is annoying me slightly. They have amazing sound quality, but it is for someone who is very used to a specific feeling. This is very overwhelming. Hard to concentrate. I might swap them for the next video.
Never have I ever before, but I can see it's lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time, 'cause it was never mine. And I can see it's twisted in bed sheets. August slipped away like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. Back when we were still changing for the better, wanting was enough.
So it's interesting actually that so this is one thing about when we're creating medleys, we're wanting to stay within the same key a lot of the time, okay, unless we're kind of going to do a key change. And that's really, I mean, look, Taylor Swift is an amazing songwriter and she's done this really beautifully. I want you to notice the way, and actually, you know what, I'm going to stop that because you're watching it with me, okay? But I love the way that her piano is so simple in this moment. And I get a lot of students saying like, oh, I could never do that. What she's actually playing, okay, it takes some time, takes some practice, but this isn't like crazy kind of movement of the fingers. She's essentially just playing the chords one after the other, kind of like alternating between the hands. Now that does take some time to bring up, like to get to that level. But I really recommend people start thinking about how can you accompany yourself with your singing? Because this is a really great way. This is something that I really regret not doing more of actually when I was younger, of actually just working better at the guitar and like working more on the guitar and the piano, because when you can accompany yourself, you're much more movable, right? Like you can go and play at different places by yourself, and it just gives you much more opportunity than worrying about that. If your guitarist or if your pianist is available at the same time. Also, it's much cheaper to be able to play for yourself, just as an idea.
And I can't see it's twisted in bed sheets. August slipped away like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. Back when we were still changing for the better.
So we saw back when we were still changing for the better. She took a big high in breath there, but you can see, I mean, look, I don't want you to look at Taylor Swift's posture and go like, but she can sit like that. Why can't I? She is someone who's just been she's been doing this for a very, very long time. She also works out. She knows what's good for her own voice. This is like one song or maybe a couple of songs in the context of the day. Like this is not a lot of work for her. But with beginner singers, we're working always towards the optimal level. So I'd want you to think about raising the sternum, think about shoulders relaxed. You can lift your arms up, shoulders back and down. And that's essentially wanting to have optimal posture, especially when we're learning to sing, because honestly, our posture can play a huge role in this.
Like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. Back when we were still changing for the better, wanting was enough. For me, it was enough to live for the hope of it all. Cancel plans just in case you call and say, meet me behind the mall. So much for summer love and saying
notice the way she's going, river, say goodbye when you say goodbye. She's actually creating more tension, just increasing the vocal fold closure ever so slightly, because she's not going, river, say goodbye. She doesn't go to a fully, what we would call, clean sound. Now, that's not to say that one is better than the other. What we say in vocals, or as singers, we'll call them clean vocals and affected vocals. So clean vocals is where we have no breath in the sound. We've got absolutely no effects going on. And say goodbye. So we've got a clear tone without breath and without any type of effect. And what Taylor's doing is what we'll call a slightly affected vocal. We say goodbye. She's allowing that little bit of breath still to come through the sound, tightening the area above the larynx, and that's what's creating that sound for her. And she's just kind of pushing into that pressure there in that moment rather than thickening the vocal folds.
Seeing us, 'cause you weren't mine to lose, and our rivers I cried when we said goodbye. Wondering if I'd made it up in my mind, but you look me in the eye. I walked through the door with you. The air was cold, but something about it felt like home somehow, and
Home somehow. That's low for a female chest voice, okay? And especially an untrained female chest voice. So don't listen to Taylor Swift and go like, that's easy, right? This is low. Home. So when you think about, we're talking about bringing the vocal folds together when we're trying to get volume, you cannot get volume this low down in the range. And I wouldn't even bother to try and get, so if I was to and I sang bass and baritone in women's choruses, right? When I was singing more a cappella and choirs. So home somehow. Now that's a very thick vocal fold, almost like it's a very vertical larynx position actually, which doesn't sound very pretty in this moment. So when we introduce breath, home somehow, that's better. Home, introducing the breath, allowing the vocal folds to open, home somehow, and taking all of the volume out of the sound. That's how we sing lower in the range. A lot of voicing or a lot of singing is about creating an inconsistent feeling and an inconsistent vocal tone for it to sound consistent. Like in our own bodies, this sounds very inconsistent, but to the audience, it sounds consistent. It's about balancing the two.
my scarf there at your sister's house, and you still got it in your drawer even now. And I know it's long gone and the magic's not here no more, and I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. And still we are again on that little town street. You almost ran the red 'cause you were looking over at me.
Oh, goodness me. I love it. I was having a little look there. I feel like we've got the same inner ears. I think she's got the vision ears. They're one of the only ones that have got the little gold thing at the bottom. You can change the... Anyway. Whatever. That's like a little moment. So when we've got so when she's going higher in the range and wanting to create that volume, she's bringing the vocal folds closer together, and we're getting less of that tightening in the throat. And that's because as we go higher in the range, the larynx needs to rise. The more tension that we have inside the throat, actually, the more that it causes us to feel like we're hitting a ceiling, or the more it sort of causes us to feel like that we're kind of strangling ourselves. And this is what so many of my singing students come into the studio saying, like, Zoe, I just want to be able to sing with more freedom. I want to be able to sing like sound like it's not like I'm strangling a cat when I'm going high. You know, I don't want it to feel like I've got the ceiling. And that's where training comes into play. And it really is where one-to-one singing lessons are what you are needing. So if you would like to improve your chest voice as you're going further up in the range, because it's possible, and it's all possible through training, you need to have that one-to-one support, and you can apply it for the Vocal Academy down in the description below.
But I'm not fine at all. It's that we are again on that little town street. You almost ran the red 'cause you were looking over at me. Wind in my hair, I was there. I remember it all too well. And there we are again when I loved you so. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. Sacred prayer.
Oh, are her lyrics not just fabulous? They are fabulous. And I want you to remember that this is because she's been working at this for a really, really long time, okay? Her lyrics weren't at this level when she was starting out. Her lyrics weren't at this level of intricacy and run-ons, and the way in which she introduces these themes and the internal rhymes. It wasn't like this right when she was beginning. And that's because she's had 20 years of a career behind. That's why she's mid-30s and singing at the Icon Award. You know, she's getting the Icon Award at the Grammy Museum. So I want you to know that you've got to start somewhere. Best day to start was right when you started singing, and that was the first best time to start. The second best time to start is right now. So get on with it and go and do some singing. But first, let's take a look at what she's doing with her vocal technique for the rest of the song.
And there we are again when I loved you so. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. Sacred prayer, and we'd swear to remember it all too well. Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car, and then canceled my plans just in case you call. Back when I was living for the hope of it all, I remember it.
So she's staying in a very similar vocal quality throughout this entire song, which is why I'm not stopping a little bit more. This is very, I would say this is quite a standard pop sound. We do hear it and we know it's Taylor Swift because she's using a decent amount of vocal fold closure. And the thing is when we're thinking about making our own true voices come through, everybody sounds like an individual, but we need to make sure that we've got enough vocal fold closure without too much twang coming in. And Taylor's got pretty much, I would say, just the tiniest amount of twang coming through her voice. And twang is a tightening of the area above the larynx. And what that does is it boosts the frequencies between 2 and 4 kilohertz. And that's kind of why a lot of people sound the same, because those frequencies are often very present in today's music. And so it's about creating all of that array of frequencies within the voice and having all the overtones so that we hear more of your true, you could call them your true frequencies within your sound. And that's really what it's about when you're looking to have that to have that recognizable voice when you're singing.
Back when I was living for the hope of it all, I remember it. Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car, then canceled my plans just in case you call. Back when I was living for the hope of it all, I knew it, and I knew I loved you. Came back when I met it, I saw you standing there in the light of the window, wearing that same smile. And it's been a while. I knew it, I loved you. Came back when I met it, I saw you.
Oh my goodness me. You just know, you know that she knows when she's, obviously she knows when she's changing the song. I love the way that she's going, we've got this very relaxed lip going on. We've got this very relaxed jaw. Now, when we're singing, we're wanting to make sure that we are, and I said to you, tension's not a bad thing. We're wanting though to make sure that we are relaxing the extraneous tension within the body. And that's often jaw. That makes a huge difference to our resonance. And also making sure we're relaxing the lips. That also makes a huge difference to the resonance. You can go away and play around with it if you really want. You can like do this or like do this and try and sing and make a note, like just notice what the difference is. That's actually what we were working on inside the Vocal Academy yesterday in our masterclass for the year 2s. We're talking about resonance and vowel modifications and how the way that the vowels, the tongue position, the jaw and the lips all play together. Because of course it's level 2. We're talking about like quite extended vocal technique here, and how all of those those pieces play together to create a more resonant sound, and also to have more of that singer's voice shine through rather than sort of like cutting out a whole bunch of their overtones.
There in the light of the window, wearing that same smile. It's been a while, but I knew it all too well. I knew it all too well, and I remember it through the days of the blades of the grass and summer.
So then remember it all too well. There's again that tension at the back of the tongue, which we need to have when we're singing with a breathy tone. Otherwise, all too well. It's like nothing's coming out when we're creating that. And about creating like lower volume. I love these types of performances because you can really hear this isn't like a recording microphone, right? This is a live performance microphone.
I remember it. You were the free fall of being younger. I knew it. I knew it. All too well.
Oh, I absolutely love that. What a simple performance, and yet still so effective. And I think a lot of the times, especially in the world of like AI music and what's going on there, I mean, like, let's forget AI music because that's a rant for another day. But when we're thinking about all the things that are going on, what we're seeing online with so much kind of what I like to call schnick schnack going on, if I'm going to like take a word from German for that, ultimately what it comes down to is if you're a singer, you just need an instrument, whether that's your friend, whether that's someone someone you find online to play with you. There's plenty of musicians out there who don't like to sing, and who don't want to sing and just want to find someone to make music with. So go out there and actively look for these people, or you could start music, piano lessons, guitar lessons yourself. There's plenty of people out there who want to go and create music, and that's where it's at. That's where the beauty is going out there and creating music with other people, and also creating music like Taylor's just done and going and performing with other people. So I really do encourage you to go along to your local jam sessions. Honestly, like, Google where they are. Okay, there's tons of them out there. Go and find a local jam session. Go and find a local karaoke evening. Go out there and find your people to help you create the music that you want to create, because the opportunity is out there. You just have to like go and grab it. And yeah, I suppose I'm going to take my own advice actually in this moment as well. I'm giving it to you. I give it to my students, and I'm also giving it to myself at the same time to go out there and go and make music. If you enjoyed this video, I have a brand new platform for you all. It's called the Vocal Hub. And that is where you can find all of my vocal analyses completely ad-free, where you can actually ask questions, get your comments answered first, vote on the next performances that I'm going to take a look at on the channel, as well as a place for us to really get your questions answered. I see a lot of questions in the comments, and honestly, this channel has grown to a point I cannot answer all of the comments. And so I really want to have a deeper conversation with you about what's going on inside these artists' voices. And most importantly, I want to have a coffee with you and I want to chat about singing. So join me over in the Vocal Hub. You can check out the link in the description below because music's amazing. Music brings us together, and through our love for artists like Taylor Swift, then we can do this together. Check out some more Taylor up here. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing, and I'm here to help you do that. Mwah! Happy singing. Ka kite anō.